So the question is, how do you develop attractive beliefs and values that make you attractive to people that you might be interested in? Okay, give me an example in your mind of a value or a belief that you believe is attractive.
I believe, that's a good question. I believe in the place I came from. I guess I will always love it no matter where I move from somewhere else. Like, let's say where I grew up, I guess. But that's not very attractive, though.
No, so let me help you. One of the main reasons that we define attractive beliefs and values are so that we can actually filter for people that share the same attractive beliefs and values that we have. So, for example, it might be attractive to some people if you believe that having a strong family background is important and that families come first. But to other people, that might be incredibly unattractive, and they don't like the idea of family interfering and messing with what they want. Some people may find hard work a strong value because it means that you're always going to be able to provide and be there for others, whereas other people might feel that that means that you're avoidant and that you're missing out on family duties. I think one of the most important things when it comes to developing your own attractive persona is to list all of the things that are very important to you that you hold dear to yourself. Not important to see in someone else, but important to see in you. Because while there might be everybody out there who's ideal for you, not everybody is going to be ideal on paper. You might find people that are missing 3 of the values that you think are really important. And likewise, they might find that 3 things that you think important, they don't really care about. Yeah. But what it is important to actually know are the negative values that are unacceptable. And if the focus isn't on what values do I need to develop, but instead, what values must I get rid of to make me attractive, you're actually going to be in a better place. Because while certain people might want certain qualities, there are universal qualities that are really bad. And so if you can get rid of the bad beliefs, then your success rate is going to go significantly higher. And also, you want to know what I call your hell no's. You want a list of things where you know for a fact that if somebody has these values or these beliefs, you won't date them. And this is something that if that's what they do, then you're just out of there, right? So I'll share one of mine. I'll give you one of mine. One of mine is I don't do ultimatums. If somebody says to me, it's this or nothing, I'm out of the relationship. Because I like discussing things. I like finding compromises. I like testing the waters and trying new things. And if somebody says to me very clearly, if we do this thing, or if this thing happens, I'm out, any form, whatever that is, I'm not interested in that relationship. Because I want to have someone that I can have great, meaningful debates with. I want someone that I can explore new things, who's open to the idea that in the future, we may evolve and change and become different people, and that's okay. So that's one of my hell no's. And so I find for you specifically, rather than thinking about what can you do to have values that make you more attractive, think what are qualities that you do not want to see in somebody else. This also mentally shifts things from you feeling like you're the problem, that you're the weakness, that you're missing out on a value that makes you attractive. Instead, it gets you thinking about the other people, about quality. What do you want? What do you deserve? What's the kind of thing that's going to make somebody want to be with you because you're picking and choosing? But there are negative values that you cannot have. So these are the things that you've absolutely got to get rid of. One of them, I don't think it's a problem, but it's bad hygiene. If you're someone with bad hygiene, that's just got to go. You can't be, you don't have a success rate that's incredibly high if you have bad hygiene. But there are other factors. Are you aggressive? Aggression is a sign often that will kill a relationship one way or the other. Another thing that works is, or that doesn't work very well, is strong political views that are opposite from the person that you want to be in a relationship with. Now, I'm not saying you can't get into a relationship with somebody if you have differing political views, but I am saying that your success rate is going to significantly diminish. So if you do have strong political views, it often just makes sense to find people that have similar views. If you don't, then use that as a sign that maybe this isn't something that you want to be in. Another one that's really bad is a bad sense of humor. I once had a student that would get very angry or upset if someone made fun of them or if there was a riddle that they couldn't get the solution to. And I remember we were in a bar in Vegas with one of my students, and this woman, she made a joke at the guy's expense. He couldn't solve it, and the joke was so silly. It was like a really dumb riddle, but he couldn't work it out. And when he failed to work it out, he got so angry. And the woman was just totally out of it. She was like, okay, you obviously can't have fun. I don't want anything to do with this. So you really need to make sure that that you have good humor and that you know that works. Now, so I would argue that they're mostly the bad values. If we can throw all those ones aside, and if you can remove all that and be a light-hearted person, then there's a few others that I wouldn't say are bad, but are things that you may want to develop that are just generally good. Mm-hmm. So these are qualities that everybody kind of says that they want. So they want somebody that's fun, that's willing to try new things. They want somebody that is largely positive, somebody who is their rock, so that when things fall apart, that person stands there with them and doesn't just collapse and start crying at the same time. Yeah. Right? They want somebody that gives them space, but at the same time is available and there when they need to. Somebody that is willing to listen, somebody that's also willing to share. But above all else, I would argue that one of the key things that makes somebody attractive is somebody who has ambition. It's not about where you are today, it's about where are you going. And I find that of all the qualities that you could have, if there were just two big ones, and that was ambition and also a sense of humor, you would find that your success rate would go through the roof. Now, these are what I would call like the universal values and beliefs that you want to have, and all the other ones just help you identify who you want to be with. However, when it comes to attraction and being more attractive, there are actually three qualities that I believe someone should develop. Now, these aren't values or beliefs, but these are three skill sets that you should have. And if you listen to everything else that I've said today, and you get rid of all the things that would ruin your chances, and you develop the values that most people say they want, and then you use some personal values of your own to help you identify and clarify what you want, you still may be a little bit more attractive, but you're not necessarily going to get what you want when it comes down to your dating life. To get what you want in your dating life, three skill sets are needed. And that's abundance, confidence, and the ability to escalate. You need all three. I don't care if you're young, old, guy, girl, straight, gay, it doesn't matter. You have to have those three things. So let me go through them with you. Abundance is the idea that you've got lots of options of people to date. Confidence is the idea that you're confident in who you are, you're not overly confident, and you're not shy. And lastly, the ability to escalate. You're comfortable taking things sexual and moving things to the next level. Now, if you have all three of these things, you will always be attractive. But let's talk about what happened if maybe you only had two of them, right? Because this is something that often you'll see that people have. Let's say, for example, you've got abundance and confidence. In this situation, you're somebody that has a lot of options and you're very confident and outgoing, but you don't have the ability to take things in a sexual way. In these situations, you tend to be known as the good friend. You're hanging out, they like hanging out with you, you've got a lot of friends, but it never turns into a relationship because you've just got abundance and confidence. What if you had confidence and the ability to escalate? In these situations, you're kind of a lone wolf. This is somebody who's single, goes out on their own, meets somebody, makes a move, tries to take them away from their friends. Maybe they'll have a sexual encounter, but they can't maintain the relationship, and a couple of weeks later, they're back out on the prowl again, looking for somebody new, right? Mm-hmm. This is where you see the serial seducers, people like that's all they're after, because they don't develop the abundance kind of element where they've got a lot of friends. Lastly, we've got somebody who's got abundance and the ability to escalate. In this situation, you've got somebody who's got a lot of friends, and they know how to take things sexual. But they've got no confidence. They never get the ones that they want. They always end up dating the person they're not ideal for them, but they don't want to make a move on the one that they truly want. When you have all three of these qualities, you've got abundance, confidence, and the ability to escalate, you now have the three key skill sets that can help anybody be more attractive, providing that you map out these values. Now, actually, this is like a core part of my training. I have an entire training program we call the ACE formula, where we take people through exactly how to do that. But if you were going to develop something, I wouldn't worry so much about what your internal values are. Instead, I would know what they are for you and use that as a criteria for who you're going to date in the future. But instead, focus on removing the bad ones and developing these skill sets. Because with those three skill sets, you're going to find abundance gives you a lot of options. You're going to know a lot of people that you're friends with. So you're going to find out when they're single or when they're not single and when it's okay to make a move, right? You're going to have confidence, which is going to let you know that it's absolutely okay for you to make a move, to stand out in the crowd and to be the more attractive person in your friend group. And lastly, with the escalation, you're going to know how to take things sexual in a way that the other person's comfortable with and they're willing to do it for you too. So let me ask you something. When it comes down to values, was there something specific that you had in mind that you wanted to know about? Like, was there a value that you felt was unattractive or that you should develop?
I think confidence was one of them. Yeah, and then the friend zone, kind of you touched about it too. Always being the good catch for somebody for one day, but actually never happening in the present. I think that's kind of related, confidence and abundance and escalation. So.
Yeah, these are the key elements that people tend to want. And I often find that when somebody's asking questions like, what beliefs do I have to make myself more attractive, they're usually asking the wrong question. Because it's usually what are the skill sets I need to develop that will make me a more attractive persona. Because I suspect, you come across like a great guy, I suspect that your values are probably pretty in line. I'm guessing they're not going out there and hurting people, doing anything terrible, right? Right, so you're a what would they call a nice guy. The problem is you just aren't sure on these other elements. So confidence is a key one. I find people get confidence wrong all the time because people will get overconfident or underconfident. People that are underconfident are never showing their true self to anyone, and people that are overconfident are never showing their true self to somebody either. I define overconfidence as I am always going to succeed, and underconfidence as I am never going to succeed. Confidence is I'm going to try my best, and historically I've done really well, so let's see what happens. Now, when it comes to trying to achieve a task, maybe overconfidence is a better way to go about it. But when it comes to being attractive, nothing works better than just being very realistic about your confidence levels and exactly where you should be. So ultimately, in summary, when it comes to values, know what your values are for you and you stick by those. And if somebody doesn't fit to your values, then that's a sign that you don't want to be with that person. But if you want to become more attractive, it's not about your values. That's about developing abundance, confidence, and the ability to escalate.
Wow.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.